Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. Reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. We are reading from Canto 3, Chapter 12, Creation of the Kumaras and Others. So currently we are at the creation of the Kumaras, and there is Brahmaji's slight bewilderment, a momentary bewilderment in the thought to create the element of lust in the universe. Okay, so when we say Brahmaji's bewilderment, this is just one of the day of Brahma, and that also where he had to facilitate the lust within the universe. And there was a manifestation of such a thought, and that thought of such a great personality. Brahmaji gave up his body, and we know that Brahmaji's body means that Brahmaji's body is not like our body, which is made up of earth, water, fire, air, ether. It is more of the intelligence, the subtler elements. So when we say Brahmaji gave up his body, that means that Brahmaji gave up that bodily consciousness. This is very important. There is, no extreme thought, discussion. And in Kali Yuga, especially, all the aparad on the level of the mind, they are completely forgiven. So one has to yato nischalati manas chanchanam asthiram. One has to come back and bring back the mind, come on the track, and move on. Right. So these are one odd instance in the day of Brahma, the life of Brahma. These are the 50 years of Brahma, and this also Bhagavatam explains to create the element of lust, so that the living entities will be covered over by the element of lust. That was only a thought. Yeah. Anybody, any question on this point? Yeah. So we will move on to the next. Text 34. Kadachidhyayata srashtur veda asamschat katham sakshmyam aham lokan samavetan yatha pura. Translation.
Once upon a time, when Brahma was thinking of how to create the worlds, as in the past millennium, the four Vedas, which contain all varieties of knowledge, became manifested from his four mouths. Purport. As a fire can consume anything and everything without being contaminated, so, by the grace of the Lord, the fire of Brahma's greatness consumed his desire for the sinful act of sex with his daughter. The Vedas are the source of all knowledge, and they were first revealed to Brahma by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead while Brahma was thinking of recreating the material world. Brahma is powerful by dint of his devotional service unto the Lord, and the Lord is always ready to forgive his devotee if by chance he falls down from the noble path of devotional service. The Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 11.5.42 confirms this as follows. Swapadamulam bhajataha
Bhajata priyasya त्यक्त्वान्यभावस्य हरे परेशः विकर्म यत् चोपतितं कथाञ्चित् धुन्वन्ति सर्वं हृदि सन्निविष्टः.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Any person who is engaged 100% in the transcendental loving service of the Lord at his lotus feet is very dear to the personality of Godhead Hari, and the Lord, being situated in the heart of the devotee, excuses all kinds of sins committed by chance. It was never expected that a great personality like Brahma would ever think of sex indulgence with his daughter. The example shown by Brahma only suggests that the power of material nature is so strong that it can act upon everyone, even Brahma. Brahma was saved by the mercy of the Lord with a little punishment, but by the grace of the Lord, he did not lose his prestige as the great Brahma. Hare Krishna.
Once upon a time, when Brahma was thinking to create, the four Vedas became manifested from the Chaturmukhi Brahma. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that the fire can consume anything and everything without personally getting contaminated, devouring fire. Similarly, Brahma's greatness, on the count of devotional service to the Lord, consumed the flaw that he had on the mental level of a thought. And Prabhupada quotes beautiful Bhagavatam verse here, Swapadamulam bhajata priyasya. Any person who is engaged in devotional service to the Lord is very dear to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the accidental fall down, here in this case, this was only on the mind. The Supreme Lord is always very eager to forgive such a devotee. We have seen this example, just like the child is becoming obedient, and the obedient child committing some mistake, mother will punish the child, but the punishment will be much less severe than the other child who is always very rebellious and very always against the parents. So Prabhupada says this instance is arranged in such a way only to suggest that the power of material nature is extremely strong, and no one should think oneself to be aloof from the, and one should not think, oh, I'm so senior, I'm so evolved, I'm so pure, that it will not contaminate me. That even up to Brahma, but Brahma was saved here by the mercy of the Lord with little punishment. What is the punishment? The punishment is itself, the instance is being quoted here in Bhagavatam, right? And did not lose his greatness, and he is the great Brahma. Text 35. Chaturhotram karma tantran upaveda nayai sah dharmasya padaschatvarah tathaiva shramavrittayah. Translation.
Translation: the four kinds of paraphernalia for conducting the fire sacrifice became manifest: the performer, the chanter, the offerer, the fire, and the action performed in terms of the supplementary Vedas. Also, the four principles of religiosity, truth, austerity, mercy, and cleanliness, and the duties in the four social orders all became manifest. Purport: eating, sleeping, defending, and mating are the four principles of material bodily demands which are common to both the animals and human society. To distinguish human society from the animals, there is the performance of religious activities in terms of the social status and orders of life. They are clearly mentioned in the Vedic literatures and were manifested by Brahma when the four Vedas were generated from his four mouths. Thus, the duties of humankind in terms of the statutes and social orders were established to be observed by the civilized man. Those who traditionally follow these principles are called Aryans or progressive human beings. Hare Krishna.
Four kinds of paraphernalia, Chaturhotram, Karma Tantram. So these were manifest: the chanter, the offerer, the fire, and the action to be performed in terms of the supplementary Veda or Upaveda. Also, the four principles of religiosity, the four legs of the religion that we call truth, austerity, mercy, and cleanliness, and the duties of Varna and Ashram. All these became manifested with the manifestation of the Vedas. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that there is the four things are common between humans and animals. Ahara nidra abhaya maithunam cha samanyam pashubirnarana. What is the difference? Dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho. Following the principles of devotional service, savai pumsam paro dharmo, dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho, that is the adhika vishesha. Dharmena hina, without these principles of paro dharma, pashubir samana, the human society will simply glide down to the animalistic society. So there are duties of the humankind. When there is somebody is an animal doesn't have any karma because animal doesn't have a free will, free choice. Animal will not indulge in something which is unnatural. So animal species, there is no karma. It is only exhausting the karmas and slowly evolving to the human life, where one will again have the opportunity to rectify one's activities, perform devotional service, so on and so forth. So there are duties only to the humankind, mankind. There is no duty to the animals. Animal duty is very simple. Ahara, nidra, bhaya, ityadi. There is no other duty to the animal. So the personalities who follow these duties which are mentioned in the Vedas, like Chaturhotram, or the Varnashrama system, they are called as Aryans. What is the Aryan? Aryan is the progressive human beings. Okay. Aryan word comes in Bhagavad Gita also. Anarya, Ajustvam, Akirtikaram cha Arjuna. So Aryan is not the output of this Aryan invasion theory, which was completely flawed, and recently it is removed from NCERT books also. What we have studied, what we have written for 4 marks questions, it is completely removed. The real Arya means the progressive human beings who are working on the duties of the mankind and trying to elevate themselves from the animal status of simply Ahar, Nidra, ityadi. Text 36. Vidura uvacha savai vishvasrujamisho vedadin mukhato srujat yadyadena srujat devan tanme bruhita podhana. Translation.
Vidura said, O great sage, whose only wealth is penance, kindly explain to me how and with whose help Brahma established the Vedic knowledge which emanated from his mouth.
Now, Vidura is inquiring, O Tapodhana, what a beautiful word. Who is Tapodhana? O sage, whose only wealth is in penance. That is, he is called as Tapodhana. O Maitreya, O sage, whose only wealth is penance. Kindly explain to me how and with whose help Brahma established Vedic knowledge which emanated from his mouth. So, Vedic knowledge appeared from his mouth. The 4 mouths gave rise to the 4 Vedas. And how did he further propitiate these Vedas and establish those Vedas? Text 37. Maitreya uvacha Rug yajur samatharvakyan Vedan purvadhipir mukhaihi Shastramijjam stutistomam Prayaschityam vyadhat kramat. Translation.
Maitreya said, beginning from the front face of Brahma, gradually the 4 Vedas, Rigved, Yajurved, Samaved, and Atharva, became manifest. Thereafter, Vedic hymns, which had not been pronounced before, priestly rituals, the subject matters of the recitation, and transcendental activities were all established one after another.
So one after another, the Chaturveda, so Rigved, Yajurved, Samaved, Atharvaved became manifested. Thereafter, the Vedic hymns, the priestly rituals, the other subject matters in this connection, they became established one after another. Text 38. Ayurvedam dhanurvedam gandharvam vedamatmanah sthapatyam chasrujat vedam karmat purvadhiver mukhaihi. Translation.
He also created the medical science, military art, musical art, and architectural science, all from the Vedas. They all emanated one after another, beginning from the front face. Purport: the Vedas contain perfect knowledge, which includes all kinds of knowledge necessary for the human society, not only on this particular planet, but on other planets as well. It is understood that military art is also necessary knowledge for the upkeep of social order, as is the art of music. All these groups of knowledge are called the Upapurana or supplements of the Vedas. Spiritual knowledge is the main topic of the Vedas, but to help the human being's spiritual pursuit of knowledge, the other information as above mentioned forms necessary branches of the Vedic knowledge.
Further, there is manifestation of Ayurveda. So Ayurveda comes from the Supreme Lord, Dhanvantari later. Then Dhanurveda. Dhanurveda is the military art. Gandharvam, Vedamatmana. Gandharva is the Gandharva musical art. And then there is architectural science, Sthapatya, Ityadi. All came from the Vedas. They all emanated one after another, beginning from the front face of the Lord Brahma. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that the Veda means knowledge. Ved means to know. Veda means the knowledge. It's a storehouse of knowledge. And not only for the human society on this planet, but also on the other planets, the Vedas are utilized on the other planet also. Right. So all the Vedas are not here. So when the advent of Kali Yuga, whenever there is certain books are being destroyed, on the higher realm of reality is that these books are, the Vedic literatures or the books. We hear that Nalanda was burning for 6 months and almost like 9 million books were destroyed. There were 9-story buildings, 3 such 9-story huge buildings of Nalanda University, library, not university, just library. They were destroyed where books were burning for 6 full months. So, but on the higher realm of reality, this knowledge always exists. Right. So these are devoured by Agnidev, and Agnidev will manifest them whenever next Satyuga appears, and the knowledge will always be there. So these are not only for the earthly planet, these are also for the heavenly planet. Similarly, Prabhupada says the military art, Dhanurveda, is also very essential for the upkeep of the society. Similarly, just like the art of the music, and all these are Upapurana, or the supplementary to the Vedas, Upavedas. These are the topics. And one can see the phenomenal, architecture, everything here now, one after another one can see. Ayurveda, if you want to see, there are such miracles of Ayurveda. Dhanurveda one can see. Now Dhanurveda is almost a lupta science. It is almost like non-existent. But Gandharva, still there are some elements of music. Sthapatya is very powerfully there. One can see those, the temples of Ajanta, temples of near Kolhapur also there is a very beautiful temple at Kidrapur. Amazing temple, Lord Shiva's temple it is. In South India, there are beautiful temples because the Maratha Empire, they stopped the invaders at the middle of the India. South India was much protected by the invaders and destruction did not reach there. So one can see, those, the temples, Sthapatya one can see there. So these are all the parts of the Vedas which manifested one after another. Text 39. Itihasa Puranani Pancham Vedam Ishvara Sarvebhya eva Vakrebhya Kasrujo Sarvadarshanaha. Translation.
Then he entered the 5th Veda, the Puranas and the histories, from all his mouths, since he could see all the past, present, and future. Purport. There are histories of particular countries and nations and of the world, but the Puranas are the histories of the universe, not only in one millennium, but in many kalpas. Brahma has knowledge of those historical facts, and therefore all the Puranas are histories. As originally composed by Brahma, they are part of the Vedas and are called 5th Veda. Thank you.
Then Brahmaji, he constructed the 5th Veda, Pancham Veda. Clearly it is mentioned here, Pancham Veda. The Puranas and the histories, Itihasa Purananu. Itihas, the histories, and the Puranas, the supplementary Vedas, they were constructed by Brahmaji. From all his mouths, because he could see Trikalagya, the way Lord Brahma is, he could see past, present, and future. So Srila Prabhupada says these are originally composed by Brahmaji, and they are also the part of the Vedas, and therefore called as Panchama Veda or the 5th Veda. So many times people, they give more importance to Shruti than Smriti. But Smriti need not be Smriti need not be isolated or need not be looked down, thinking that, oh, no, here Bhagavatam very clearly says that the Itihas and Purana, they are the Panchama Veda, text 40. Shodasha Uktau Purvaktat Purisha Agnitushtathat Aptoryat Matirratrau Savajapeyam Sago Savam. Translation.
All the different varieties of fire sacrifices, Sodashi, Ukta, Purushi, Agnistoma, Aptoryama, Atiratra, Vajapeya, and Gosava, became manifested from the eastern mouth of Brahma.
So previous were the manifestations of the front face of Brahmaji. Now there is the eastern mouth of Brahma. All different varieties of the fire sacrifices, the mentioned here, they became manifested. So here Vajpayee is also one of the fire sacrifice. We had our Prime Minister Vajpayee. Okay. So this comes from there. One who is performing those fire sacrifices, right? So this is Vajpayee. Text 41. Vidyadanam tapas satyam dharmasyeti padani cha ashramam yatha sankyam sasrujat sahavrittibihi.
Education, charity, penance, and truth are said to be the four legs of religion. And to learn this, there are four orders of life with different classifications of castes according to vocation. Brahma created all these in systematic order. Purport. The nucleus of the four social orders, Brahmacharya, or student life, grihastha or householder family life, vanaprastha or retired life for practicing penance, and sannyasa or renounced life for preaching the truth, is the four legs of religion. The vocational divisions are the Brahmanas or the intelligent class, the Kshatriyas or the administrative class, the Vaishyas or mercantile productive class, and the Shudras or general laborer class who have no specific qualifications. All were systematically planned and created by Brahma for the regular promotion of self-realization. Student life is meant for acquiring the best education. Household family life is meant for gratifying the senses, provided it is performed with a charitable disposition of mind. Retirement from household life is meant for penance, for advancement in spiritual life. And renounced life is meant for preaching the absolute truth to the people in general. The combined actions of all members of society make the whole situation favorable for the upliftment of the mission of human life. The beginning of this social institution is based on education meant for purifying the animal propensities of the human being. The highest purificatory process is knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the purest of the pure.
Education, charity, penance, and the truth. These are the four legs of religion. And similarly, and to learn, there are the four orders of life with different classification of the castes according to one's vocation or the activities. Brahmaji created all these in a very systematic order. So in Bhagavad Gita we say Chaturvaranyam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhagashah. So here Chaturvaranyam Maya Srishtam. Here Brahmaji is doing that Srishti. This is the Sarga Upasarga is going on. Sarga Visarga is going on. So this is the Srishti created by Brahmaji. So Lord's desires, they are manifested through the activities of Brahma. Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, the nucleus of the four orders of life is these four legs of religions. Which are the four social orders? Social orders are Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. Right? So these are how you conduct yourself in the society. And there are particular activities based on one's Guna Karma Vibhagashaha. So if you see historically, till almost 1838, these varnas, varna is a very fluid concept that one has to understand. Varna is a very fluid concept. It is not a rigid based on one's birth, right? So varna is a very fluid concept. But it was, it was 38 around, when the colonials, they wanted to destroy the Indian fabric, they made it into a static and made it into a caste. So in fact, the word caste is the Greek word which comes from the word kasta. And there is nothing called as a caste in the Indian Varnashrama system. But the Varnashram was fluid, was made into caste, which is static. And the castes were made to, made to hate each other. And there was a feeling of superiority and inferiority. And there is the entire Jati Vyavastha came into existence by this Varnashrama system, by this, the colonial intervention. And this was around 1820 to 1840. This was the period, okay, when the whole thing was did happen. But Srila Prabhupada says here, this is a very fluid system based on guna karma vibhagashaha, and it is systematically planned and created by Brahmaji. And then the student life is for acquiring the best education. Family life is meant for gratifying the senses, provided one is having the charitable disposition. Retired life is for the household, is retiring from the household life and meaning for the penance. And the final sannyas life is for preaching the message of the Supreme Lord. And this combined action is to elevate the entire human society so that they can approach the Supreme Lord, who is purest of the pure. So this is how Brahmaji's creation, it continues. So we will conclude here. There is a small discussion wanted to have. That next 3 days, I will not be able to take the discussion, but we can have the reading. We can have the class till say 7:30 and we can go on with the reading. We are planning for this Prayagraj Tirtha Yatra. So, requesting blessings of all the devotees as well, that we go and come back safely and don't get stuck up in the traffic jam. And then on 15th, we will cover all the discussions that is being there for the coming 3 days. So Mudit Krishna Prabhu will lead the discussion, will lead the reading, and we'll continue the discussion once we come back, once I join on the 15th. So here in this purport, there is a very clear mention of family life. So yesterday there was a question about, the strictness regarding the family life and the activities of sense gratification within the family life. We have discussed this previously, that in the family life, it has to be very clear that, the standards in the family life are between the lower of the two, between a husband and wife. Right. It has to be very clear. One partner is a very bad word to use for this, because partner is a very, very contractual word, transactional word to use. But one of the personality is say more advanced and doesn't need the bodily engagement, and if another person is not so advanced, there is always a chance of adultery. Right. And that is exactly not the purpose of the Grihastha life. So in Grihastha life, one is recommended to live like a Grihastha and not like Vanaprastha or a sannyasi. So there is a light joke like this. If you behave like a Vanaprastha in Grihastha life, in Vanaprastha life, you may behave like a Grihastha. So, all our advancement, all our detachment, all our progress, or our realization should be age appropriate. Right. It should be age appropriate. Not that the children are hearing something and getting detached from the studies. Parents or husband, wife, they are hearing something and getting detached from the family life. This is most likely, this may lead to a Markata Vairagya, and which is like Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatrika Vidim Vina Aikantiki Harer Bhakti Utpatayaiva Kalpate. So it is very important to behave as a Grihastha in Grihastha life. Right. You are, and here this purport very clearly says this. You cannot be more clear than this. All were systematically planned and created by Brahmaji for the regular promotion of self-realization. Student life is meant for acquiring the best education. So while student, be a student. Household life is meant for gratifying the senses with charitable disposition of the mind. Very clearly Srila Prabhupada writes here. Right. Retired life is for the household life. So retired life is around 55, 56, or 60 is surely the retired life begins at 60. Okay. So again, one starts becoming devotee at the age of 60, then maybe one's retired life can go little even, but the entire system of samskara is arranged in such a way that progressively one will become detached from the the excessive engagement, excessive enjoyment kind of activity, and will naturally be gravitated towards spiritual activities. And then there is a sannyas life, which is meant for preaching the message of the absolute truth. So the application has to be age appropriate, gradual, and it should not be any aikantiki, it should not be utpatayaiva kalpate. It's very important. It should not create any utpat in one's life or in one's family life, right? So not that some sudden enlightenment and one drastically changes one's life in such a way that there is a utpat or there is a devastation in the life or personal life or in the family life. The change has to be very gradual, very focused, and step by step. So we will conclude here and continue tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura
Jai.
Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhupada.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Thank
Prabhuji.
you, Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, small
Hare
question.
Krishna. Yes.
Prabhu, I read somewhere, I remembered somewhere that actually Vedas were only one piece, but Vedavyas has divided them into four. But now here we see from four heads, four Vedas came. So was it
Yeah.
divided?
So both are true. So although four Vedas are came, Vedas were one.
Okay.
Say you in 4 minutes speak about the knowledge, and then later somebody says that first minute knowledge spoken was physics, the second minute knowledge spoken was mathematics, the third minute knowledge spoken was chemistry, fourth minute it was biology. Okay, you spoke the knowledge, so the Brahmaji spoke the Vedas, and they were Veda. And then later, when Vedas were to be, especially for Kali Yuga, they were to be disseminated very systematically. Then Veda Vyasa, Vyasa itself means divide. He divided the Vedas from that angle. But it was very clear that, knowledge, but the sections of the knowledge were very clear previously. In Kali Yuga, that was what was very clear became obscured. And therefore, Veda Vyasji, he had to divide it and say that, no, this is this Veda and he is the professor of this Veda. That we will see later, how Veda Vyas divided the knowledge and handed over one the Veda to one his personalities, one his student, Jaimini, Patanjali, so on and so forth.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
Correct?
Thank
Prabhuji,
you,
how you are
Prabhuji.
going
Thank
to
you,
Prayagraj?
Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, how you are going Prayagraj?
We'll discuss personally, Prabhuji. But okay, quick answer. Prayagraj, we are avoiding the bus route. We are going by flight here to Prayag, and from here to Delhi, and from Delhi to Prayag we are going by bus. So
Okay,
that's an overnight journey, Delhi to Prayag,
okay,
and
Prabhuji.
just taking the holy bath there, Sangam, and then there is no other plan because there is an advisory by the Ayodhya temple also, the Varanasi temple also, to
Yes.
postpone all your plans by at least 20 days because they are facing unprecedented rush.
Yeah, right,
So we are
Prabhuji.
not, we are not going anywhere. So we are directly coming again. Once this thing is over, we will again come back to Delhi and by flight back to Pune. So this is how we have planned.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dopana, Prabhuji.
Correct. Thank you, Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhupada.
Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
everyone.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Dopana, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.